Hello, welcome back again to the next lino cutting series. I've got some ink out from the previous video which I kept out because I'm using, plus some new ink which I'll go into a minute. You'll see here I have 3 traditional lino cutting tools. These are by the Swiss company Feel or File, it's P-F-I-E-L. They're brilliant, you know, I've used them for 10-15 years. I haven't had to replace them, so they're absolutely brilliant tools. I've got a sort of a U shape, a basic U shape, quite a medium sized one, a smaller U shape, and a line shape tool. Now I'm not going to be going into how to safely use these tools because I'm repeating numerous videos on the internet, some of which are really good and really well done on how to safely use lino cutting tools. So please, if you never used one, go and look at one of those now and then come back, just because I could be here for 15 minutes doing that and we're just going to start cutting. Now this is a sort of, I'm introducing line, line texture with the tools, but in quite a fun way, and it's get a nice image out of it. It's quite quick, so I'm going to start cutting. What I would be asking if you're doing this, following it, for you to do is just to literally start cutting some lines, marks on your lino, and I'm going to be doing mine quite quickly for obvious reasons, so you can take a lot more time. And the idea is to get a sort of, at this stage, a third of the lino covered in different areas. Don't, have a play of what the tool can do. Whoop. Get him out of there. As you can see, this is super quick, so I can get this demo done in time for you all. This is my finer tool. And I've gone quite geometric. You don't have to. This exercise is completely free form. It's about cutting away about that much of your lino to start with. You can be really detailed and go into the fine tools and create some beautiful marks. That's stage 1 done. Now, here, this is called Extender. It's a transparent printing medium. It's quite gloopy. It's almost like adding a bit of water to watercolours. You use it to tint. So, I'm going to tint it with a dab of black, and it's really sensitive. So, literally a dab, because I want a very pale grey, and you can see how sensitive already it's reacted to that. Always make sure it's well mixed with Extender, and always when you're working with Extender, add your tinting colour, in this case black, drop by drop to the Extender rather than the Extender to the black, because this is really sensitive. If you end up with it's still too strong and you keep adding more Extender to loosen it, it's not going to work and you're going to waste so much ink. Just tentatively go drop by drop. I'm just going to do a little tester. Yep, that will show up. So I'm going to actually roll out, because I know where we're going, the whole lot of that. This might be slightly off shot, hopefully not too much. And again, it's all going to be hand printed. Please make sure you work with clean rollers, because Extender is incredibly sensitive. So if you are printing blue and then you haven't cleaned your roller, then you're going to have a blue-black. So that was literally a tiny blob of black in that Extender, 50p size amount of Extender. Let's get rid of that hair. It's sometimes difficult to tell if you've rolled it up enough. You have to hear and sometimes just hold it in the light. I can see a nice glistening surface. So I'm going to be hand printing this on another sheet of origami paper from the Origami Factory. Extender can be quite slippy to hand print. It's quite greasy, so really hold your paper down, otherwise you'll get a lino shift and you'll get a double image, which isn't always a bad thing, but just when you're learning, really try and hold your paper down. Great. Nice pale grey. That is going to one side. What I'm going to be asking you to do next is to give that lino a bit of a clean. I'm just grabbing my rag and I'm cleaning it with just a cotton bed sheet torn up. Those are my rags, and you shouldn't need any cleaning medium or oil. It should be fine if it's just dry. You should have enough scrubbability just to get it off. Okay. Next, go back with the tools. Cut more marks. Typically it's all going white ink. Sorry, it's a small workspace, so bear with them. I'll try not to flick them. And I'm going to be quite bold. You can cut away whole areas. You don't just have to do line work. You'll see what's going to be happening. And this is about having fun with lino, you know, not making images yet, just enjoying the cutting. Cutting lino is really a beautiful, beautiful experience. Or, you know, as in the previous videos, battling lino is also rather fun. So, you know, don't, and overcut, cut over previous lines. Okay. Let's move those to the side, let's move that, move that. Next, you're going to darken your extender. So, tints a bit more black. Depends how many layers you're going for. I'm going for 3 because of time limits. You can, you know, do more. You can go a bit more. And you'll notice I'm mixing a sort of a patch on the side, and what I'm going to do, it's kind of a cheats way. You should really mix a new patch of ink, but we're not doing that. Put a nice bead out and use the roller to get it nice and even. You'll notice with my inking I'm not getting these bits in at the edge or the scummy bits. Absolutely no need. And there's no need to go in the diagonal and all over the place. It's an absolute waste of ink. And you'll have to clean it up, so now it's very clear with Extender. You can see the repeat of the roller there. Extender is very sensitive, so don't keep going back and forth. You'll get a repeat of your block pattern repeated back on itself. Sorry, I think my head was just in shot there, so I think that's nice and even. Just going over once more, safe side. Brilliant. So my micro workspace. I'm going to bring back my print, and this is one registration technique of putting it on top. Now this is where you have the choice. Because I've cut a square, I could put it back on top in exactly the same place and get a reduction print. I've reduced areas of the liner to reveal more, the colour underneath. Or what we're going to do, because it's fun, we're going to turn it 90 degrees and print it not in register because it's a square. So my method of lining, apologies for my head. You can use a registration board. We shall go into these or go and have a search on YouTube for registration boards. There's some really nice ones out there. I've used this method for years and I get pretty much spot on registration. It takes a bit of practice. It's just laying it on top. I think it came out of the necessity. I literally couldn't afford a registration board and I had no means to make one. various circumstances. So I just took up hand registering by eye. As I say, registration is one of those things, is kind of an essential in various forms of printmaking. We will go into it, but let's not do it now. Let's just have some fun. And I'm going to try and hold that up to the camera a bit. You can see the subtleties of the pale grey underneath. It's really beautiful, poking through some of the lines. And it's given me, given you the opportunity to do things without controlling it too much, because you flipped the plate 90 degrees. And I use this method quite a lot even in my own work where I've got quite large prints. And I just I usually work on a square, it might be a personal thing, but also allows me to flip the plate, so I print it upside down in various parts. It just makes it more interesting, I think. It gives a bit of spontaneity. It obviously doesn't work if you're creating a very structured image, but this is about having fun now. And so back in for the final cut. What I'm going to do, I'm actually going to get a really chunky one, because I'm going to start removing some quite large areas so that we can see quite a lot of the information underneath, which should be nice. When it comes to buying lino tools, I always say to people, and this is just my personal advice, I say buy the best you can afford, because if you get good ones, they will last a lifetime. If you get cheap ones, they will do the job, but you'll eternally be frustrated with how not sharp they are, or how they don't do what you want to do, or they keep breaking, or you keep having to buy new ones. So I always say to people, and I know it's a bit of a pain, but sometimes wait and save more, and then purchase more expensive tools that are higher quality, and you can sharpen yourself. You don't have to replace the blade. You can look after them and care for them. Okay. With any of that. Now the last layer is going to be straight up black, and this is literally out of the tin, no extender, black. And we're going to be printing again by rotating it 90, or you don't have to rotate it 90, of course, you can rotate it 180, 270. You've got multiple options with the square. And of course, I'm only doing 3 layers. You can do as many more and go into so much more detail and really think about where your marks are lining up or where they're not. Have fun. They're beautiful little exercises in just enjoying yourself and enjoying lino, which is what it should be about. So, bring back my print. I'm going to... I'm looking at these big areas which are cut away. I want to keep. So I'm actually going to print it there because I want to see some of this stuff through here. No, I'm going to do that. Change my mind. Again, this is my quirky registration method. I have seen other people use it. Registering by eye. It's a skill. And it's taken many years of necessity and practice, as I say. But it does the job. And I'm printing wet on wet. I haven't let my layers dry in between. Again, that's another thing you can do if you wish for crisper images. But this is a really nice thing to do, on a sunny day. Go outside, set yourself up outside in the sunshine and start cutting with a little inking table. Oh, beautiful. Looks pretty funky. Oh, wonderful. So you can see it from a distance there. I'll bring it up to the camera. So you can really see the layers through it, and when you see it in person you can see that beautiful subtle grey to start with, which is really good fun. And it's about these sort of misregistrations of things, and the layers and this beautiful cross-hatching coming through some of these marks. About having fun, your first introduction to cutting with lino that doesn't have to be an image. It can just be mark making and exploring and misregistrations and different forms lining up. So have fun, enjoy, do as many layers as you want, 10, 15, You know, how long is a piece of string? I hope you enjoyed it and have fun cutting.